Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of F1 2020 My Team. So today we're here for the Canadian Grand Prix, round number 9. Round number 9 of this career mode season 1. As you can see, we've got 946 resource points to spend. It's not going to be enough to spend on a major upgrade in any department, but it will be enough to do a minor durability upgrade. So that'll be coming in time for the French Grand Prix, and I did the MG UK because I checked, and the MG UK was actually more worn out than the MG H, so that's probably going to be more critical. As for activities before the Grand Prix weekend, we've decided to do weight training for our teammate. So let's fast forward time. That's done. So now that's +1 pace for him. Hopefully that will help going into this weekend, and yeah, let's see what we can do. So loading in, we're going to have a look at the messages. It seems like I think you may have seen, yes, it's going to be raining for qualifying. It looks like it says heavy rain, but we're not sure because sometimes it says heavy rain but then it's actually light rain. So they purposely make the weather forecast less accurate to make it more exciting and less predictable for the player. Anyway, in terms of car performance, we are still the third worst car, but still ahead of AlphaTauri still. I'm not sure I don't think we had any upgrades coming into this race, so we may be a tiny bit slow, and well, as you can see, lost control of the car, just a bit too much wheel spin, and as you can see, worn out tyres as well. So on the track acclimatization program, that was it. So there you go. That's one incident that happened during practice, and another one that happened, rather unusual to see actually, is a retirement during practice. As you can see in a moment, Charles Leclerc actually retired from practice, which is a very odd thing, and from what I know, it's not supposed to happen. At least I don't remember it ever happening before. So yeah, there's a feature that I didn't know. As you can see, there's a power unit issue. Maybe that's gearbox, I'm not sure. But yeah, there you go, Leclerc out of this session. Interesting to see. But anyway, as you can see, at the end of practice 1, because of that incident, we didn't have any tyres to use left, so we ended up 14th, and actually Lance Stroll got disqualified for going the wrong way. Okay, this practice session is a bit crazy. I'm not sure this has ever happened before, but anyway, as you can see, intermediate tyres towards the end of the session. That's also another reason why I was so far down the order. I went for a run on softs, but it was already wet by the time I put them on, so had to go out again on the inters. And after I actually checked everybody's lap times on the inters, found out that I was actually the quickest on the inter tyre. But as you can see here,
who would you say is your biggest rival at the moment?
In the interview, we've been given the question of who's our biggest rival. 4 very difficult options to beat, but I decided that Carlos Sainz would be the better option to go for. Of course, it's not going to be easy. He's still a very, very quick driver. But anyway, we're now going to head into qualifying, where, as I said before, it's going to be full wet as far as I know, and of course we need to fit in our new engine components as well. I thought about fitting a new energy store as well. In the end, I think I decided not to, and I kept the old one. But anyway, let's head into qualifying for the Canadian Grand Prix and see where we can put ourselves on the grid. So here we are then, getting ready for qualifying. As you can actually see, or may have seen just a moment ago, we're actually on the inters. So seems like it's not actually wet enough to go onto the full wets, but we are going to be on that green striped intermediate tyre instead. So that's what we're going to be using if the Delta says that it's going to be faster. As you can see, I've loaded on an intermediate setup. It was essentially just a dry setup with one click more wings on the front and the rear, and some suspension changes as well. But anyway, as we have seen before, we're actually pretty good in the wet, so that's definitely an advantage. So skipping to the end of Q1, we ended up 11th fastest, just ahead of our rival, Carlos Sainz. But of course this is only Q1, so it's not, maybe they're sandbagging. But unfortunately for my teammate, he's missed out on Q2 by 7 milliseconds, 7 thousandths of a second to Kimi Raikkonen. So big shame for him, but oh yeah, he only went out on one set of tyres as well, which is an interesting tactic, but as you can see, it didn't pay off. So unfortunate, but I think Antonio Giovinazzi went for the same idea and didn't work for him either. So unfortunate for them, but we continue on to Q2, and as you can see, we made it through, 6th fastest, and ahead of, well, being sandwiched by the two Red Bulls. And as you can see, our rival Carlos Sainz has been knocked out of Q2. He's only 13th fastest, and also along with Perez, Ocon, I'm not sure who's 15th, but anyway, that's the Q2 result. As usual, Mercedes topping the field. And so, as we now head into Q3, well, this was our best lap that we set. Currently 5th fastest, and getting a good exit out of the final chicane. Heading on to the main straight, braking for turn 1, 4th gear, and actually changing down to 1st for turn 2, trying to get the extra rotation, short shifting all the way up to 5th, losing the back end a little bit actually. And as we now head into this chicane thing, 5th gear through here, once again oversteer on the exit, we're half a tenth up, actually set a purple sector 1, so that's pretty cool. 3rd gear, short shifting to 5th through this section here, and now heading on to the end of the, no, not the end of, but anyway, another sort of chicane out of this corner, heading to the end of the 2nd sector, and we look to our split. We're 2 tenths up on our previous best time. Now going through turn 10, very understeery usually, much lower speed than many anticipate. But as you can see, we got a good exit. We actually turned off the ERS to give us that little bit less torque, so then it's easier to manage on power coming out of that hairpin. Braking for the final chicane, 5th gear through here, hit the curbs, mount them, and as we now head across the line, we are 3rd fastest in qualifying. We don't have enough fuel or time for a 2nd flying lap, so 3rd fastest, very good effort. As you can see, trying to do some celebratory drifting, but it's not really working. As you can see, damage for front wing, trying it again and through here, and okay, this is a disaster. But anyway, no budget cap in 2020. Oh, we spun. Cool. Anyway, luckily there's no cars coming towards us, so we're not causing any traffic. So this is legal, sort of. Anyway, that's
okay. We can take you this lap.
That's our lap done. We're going to box for a new front wing, even though It's already the end of the session.
Qualifying finished.
In the end,
It's
we
time to
finished
remind
6th
ourselves
fastest, which
of
is
our top
actually a
three
really good
Hamilton,
effort considering that
Leclerc,
we're in
and
a
Valtteri Bottas.
car which is,
With qualifying wrapped
well,
up,
theoretically
we now have our
third
grid line up
worst.
for the big race tomorrow.
Could be
Be sure to
durability
join
is
us
quite
then
poor
for
as
what
well.
will no
They count that
doubt
as
be a
well.
fantastic race.
Not sure, but anyway, ahead of Lance Stroll, Ricciardo, Norris, and Albon. Albon's had a shocker down in 10th. But yeah, a good result. We're going to start 6th, of course, because it's raining. We'll have a free tyre choice no matter what for the race later on. So yeah, a good result. And actually, we did the laps both on one set of tyres because, well, we ran out of inters. But anyway, that's the result. As you can see, that's not me rage quitting. There's nothing to be raged about. But anyway, as you can see in the rivalry breakdown, we lead to Carlos Sainz. So that's a good start. As usual, the acclaims are going up. We get to assign a new secondary sponsor at acclaim level 10. So that's something that we'll be aiming for in the future.
All right, I think we can call that a successful qualifying. We should be in with a good chance in the race.
But we won't worry about that for now. We're going to head into the race. It's going to be dry for the whole race, so no issues there for strategy, as you can see. So yeah, let's see what we can do. 35 laps around the Canadian Grand Prix, starting 6th on the grid.
Hello and welcome to the Ile Notre Dame once again for what promises to be another incredible Canadian Grand Prix at a fiercely competitive circuit, where pole position can often be decided by less than 1/10 of a second. We'll be seeing top speeds of around 210 miles an hour here at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, with around 2/3 of the lap taken at full throttle. High-speed chicanes spell potential danger, especially at the infamous Wall of Champions. And watch out for overtaking into the hairpin and the final chicane. Joining us today to oversee all the thrills and spills, it's Anthony Davidson. And great to see you. How are you feeling about the race today, and how are the circuit conditions from what you've seen?
Well, it's looking a bit cold out there, if I'm honest. These tyres have quite a narrow operating window in terms of the temperatures they need to extract the best grip. So with a cold track surface, it's going to be harder to keep those temperatures up, which will lead to lower grip and maybe more mistakes.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Verstappen, Sebastian Vettel, Holmes, Stroll, Norris, Perez, and Kevin Magnussen. Sainz, Ricciardo, they've taken a grid penalty. Esteban Ocon and Grosjean, Albon, Raikkonen, Nobuharu Matsushita and Pierre Gasly, Giovinazzi, Russell, Kvyat and Nicholas Latifi. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Now that we've got some points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
So here we are then on the grid for the Canadian Grand Prix. Game is suggesting to do a two-stop strategy. Usually around Canada, the two-stop is quicker. So, as you can see, testing it out to see if we could try a one-stop, but it's not going to be quicker. It's going to be ever so slightly slower, in fact. But two-stop it is. Then as you can see, we're actually editing it slightly. We're actually going to do a soft, medium, soft instead of soft, soft, medium. I think it was before. I think that would be better for our race. Not sure what everybody else is going to do, but that's what we are going to attempt. But anyway, oh yeah, I've reset it by accident. Anyway, we'll change it back. Soft, medium, soft. 10 laps on each set of softs and 15 laps on the mediums. So that's what we're aiming to do. 35 laps at the Canadian Grand Prix. We're going to be using quite a lot of fuel as usual. As you can see, everybody else is also starting on the same compound. So as for fuel, we're going to be adding quite a lot more. Usually, I swear the fuel literally burns like 2 laps extra per lap, but anyway, we're going to have to be using, we're going to have to be managing our fuel quite well. I think we've added 7.5 laps extra, didn't quite catch that, but anyway, formation lap, once again the tyres are absolutely freezing.
Okay, our system checks are good. We need to stay in formation and start bringing the car up to temperature, please. Get some load into the tyres and work the brakes. We want them nice and warm by the end of the lap.
Yes, we do want to warm up the tyres, so there's no good putting them into the freezer, because it's not gonna. I don't know if you know, Jeff, but the freezer cools stuff down, not heats them up. So you may have seen me doing some drifting at turn 2 to warm it up. Probably not the smartest way to do it, but I did it anyway. So lining up.
The rest of the grid is forming up. Be patient and watch for the lights.
Lining up, still 6th, despite some grid penalties further back, I think. Directly behind Max Verstappen and directly ahead of Lando Norris behind us in the McLaren, down in 8th. But anyway, here we go for 5 red lights here for the Canadian Grand Prix. It's away we go, and probably quite bad first phase of the start, but better than Vettel. In fact, the second phase we did well. We run into back of Verstappen slightly. We've got the inside of Valtteri Bottas actually, but of course we couldn't hold on. But anyway, now side by side with Sebastian Vettel, going into turn 3, we managed to get him and up into 5th place once again, like last race I think, or the race before, I can't remember. Anyway, as you can see, a bit of a snap of oversteer out of turn.
That's what we like to see at the start. Well,
I don't know what turn that is, but anyway, Vettel's trying to come back at us, heading into sort of the end of the second sector. It's not exactly, but anyway, as you can see, the top 4 are already stretching away. 2 seconds ahead is Valtteri Bottas as we hit the grass slightly, going into the hairpin, locking up the outside front, or just the front, both fronts really. But anyway, as we now head towards the end of the first lap, we're still ahead of Sebastian Vettel, but only by 2 and a bit tenths, as we now head through the final chicane, and Hamilton's still in the lead from Charles Leclerc, who actually did a really good qualifying in the wet the previous session. So on to lap 2 then. We are actually ever slightly gaining on Bottas, but that's not going to last. As we head on to lap 6, Sebastian Vettel tries our outside at turn 10, or having to use first gear in fact, to try and get the rotation that we need out of the corner. Decent exit for us, but pretty good one for Vettel as well, as he's got DRS now, as he's going to try and move, going into the final chicane, before the braking zone even, and nearly run into the back of him, surprised by how early he braked. But anyway, back to our starting position in 6th. Behind us, Lando Norris, he's dropping back, in fact, by 1.6 seconds so far now, as we are looking to, well, on lap 9 now, people are starting to pit for their first pit stops. Hamilton onto
in this lap, push now.
Hamilton onto the mediums. We're going to be boxing at the end of this lap. The rear tyres are absolutely gone, and we get a big snap of oversteer.
Nobuharu is coming in for his stop.
For some reason, our teammate boxing first. Usually it's the lead driver that pits first, but anyway, pretty sure this undercut attempt by the other drivers is actually going to work on us. So here we go then, into the pits. We are going to need a good pit stop, but it's a bit of a slow one, 3 seconds.
Release.
Not horrendous, but not great either. As we now head out of the pit lane,
We'll be doing one more stop today. 1 stop left in our
we're going to do 15 laps on these mediums as we come out just ahead of Lance Stroll, or sort of, well, quite far way ahead of him in fact. But anyway, as you can see, still behind Sebastian Vettel. Alex Albon is now in 5th, but he's yet to make a pit stop. And as you can see, we've lost a fair chunk of time to Sebastian Vettel, who's now got past Alex Albon. But as you may have seen just a few moments ago, we've actually got light front wing damage on the right hand end plate. So that's not ideal. We're going to have to carry that through the rest of the race. As now Verstappen pits for a set of mediums, he's actually set the fastest lap. As you can see, replay of him going onto that tyre, and out he goes. Anyway, back to our race, or back to the race director having a look at the tyres that everybody is on. That's actually Verstappen's second stop already, so I'm not sure he can get to the end of those on those tyres. No, it's lap 21. He should be able to. Anyway, Vettel is. I think we're actually catching up to him slightly. The gap was 4.7. Now it's 3.6. But behind us now is Max Verstappen, looking to get past Stroll and now us, as you can see. Heading into turn 10, we're now side by side. May have outbroken myself as well as him. But anyway, going on to the straight, Verstappen gets a pretty decent exit. There's no point in really defending, so I've turned off the overtake, gone into lean, and let him pass onto the final chicane. But actually, I was surprised by how early he braked, and we've got the position back on Verstappen. As we see in the top left, people are starting to pit again for their second stop. Hamilton and I think Leclerc, who's actually gone onto another set of softs. From what I remember, I think that's the third time he's gone onto that tyre. As we now cut to Vettel pitting, and also Stroll for another set of mediums, and Ricciardo too. And I think that's Norris, yeah, that is. But anyway, lap 23, finally Verstappen has got past us. Probably held him up quite a lot, but anyway, behind us now, Charles Leclerc on that set of softs, which, like I say, is the third time that he's used that compound. It's now Bottas pits for, I'm predicting, a set of mediums or softs, I'm not sure. But anyway, heading on to lap 24, we do jump him. No, he's on mediums. He's now behind us in 4th. Of course, this is not going to be for track position, as I lose the back end massively out of turn 4, and Bottas is going to get the run on us into turn 5. He's going round the outside, and he's passed quite easily, in fact, and he gets DRS as well. Now behind us, Charles Leclerc, once again, like I say, well, he's already pitted, and virtual safety car is out because Esteban Ocon has retired from the race. I think it's a mechanical failure, I'm pretty sure, but that's going to be quite an interesting one. As you can see, he stops by the side of the track. We're going to box this lap, hopefully getting the advantage from the virtual safety car. Hopefully it doesn't end before we go in.
Virtual safety car is ending. Maintain your pace until the green flag. VSC ending. Wait for green.
That commentator's curse. Literally just as we head into the pit lane, the virtual safety car's ended. Fantastic. That
exit now.
Effectively useless now, but anyway, we were scheduled to box this lap anyway, so
Stay clear
nothing really lost there. Anyway, coming out just ahead of Ricciardo, are we? No, not quite, but we do come out ahead of Leclerc, who is now pitted for his third and final time for a set of mediums. Now he's dropped down to 9th from 2nd on the grid, so not looking like an ideal race for him, as we now chase down Daniel Ricciardo in the Renault. We've got DRS, remember we've got the same engine as him, that Renault powertrain, so it's going to be pretty difficult to get him, as we now go for a late dive into the final chicane, and up into 7th place we go. And now Leclerc is actually attacking Ricciardo, as we look at the replay of our move into the chicane, late braking. So not easy, considering that Ricciardo is last of the late breakers. But anyway, as you can see, Leclerc was also attacking him, and he's actually got past into turn 1 as we look back from our onboard. But anyway, next up, Lando Norris. as we actually set the fastest lap of the race on lap 29 with a 1:10.6. So great lap time from us, as we now are within DRS of Norris ahead. Now we're well within his DRS, only 1.5 tenths behind. Going to use all of our overtake, or what we have left. Anyway, we pull out of his slipstream. Still got it from Stroll. Do not make the move, but we're going to size up the good exit. Didn't quite get it, but hopefully we can get him into turn 1. No, we can't. How about turn 2? He's a bit slow on the inside, as we're going to go round the outside of him. That's just pure tyre grip right there. As we now head into turn 3, and we make the move on Lando Norris. Next up, Lance Stroll, just over a second ahead, so we're not going to get DRS just yet. As we're now on lap 32, we're running out of time in fact, so we're going to have to get him pretty quickly. And as you can see, we've got DRS now in his slipstream, running out of fuel actually. And as we head into the final chicane, we're going to go around the outside and ahead of Lance Stroll. Into 5th place we go, and he doesn't get a good enough exit to get us back. And of course we've got DRS on both straights. And here's the replay of the move. Fair but aggressive. So there you go. Here's another camera view of it. And here's his onboard as we look. He was defending the inside and just going to go clean round his outside. So there we go, up into 5th place, and that was the end of the race. As you can see, Lewis Hamilton wins the Canadian Grand Prix. I think Verstappen came home in 2nd place, Bottas finishes 3rd, Vettel, good race in 4th, as we come home to finish a solid P5. Good points for us into the bag, and yeah, going to help us in our Constructors and Drivers' Championship as we head through the season.
A truly magnificent drive then, and a great performance from the entire team to secure victory here in Canada. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
Well, I think it was clear what the main contributing factor out on the track was today: speed. I know it sounds like an obvious thing to say, Crofty, but fast cars win races, and we saw that today with our winner.
Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium once again.
So there we are, Hamilton wins the Canadian Grand Prix. Verstappen comes home in 2nd ahead of Bottas, and well, it's the same usual podium as we see in real life many times, the top 3. And there we are then, that's the Canadian Grand Prix. And as we now look to the final results, we need, come on, skip this bit, we don't need to see this. Anyway,
so, let's review the
here we are then.
It's a great result for
5th
Lewis Hamilton,
in the end, and well, unfortunately we couldn't quite keep that fastest lap that we got on lap 29. Hamilton beat it at some point, but only by 2/100ths of a second. And as you can see in the drivers, we move up to 4th place behind Hamilton, Verstappen and Bottas, and 4th in the Constructors as well. So we're looking very strong, but I suspect that could come to well, crashing down to earth, because we were pretty strong in the street circuits, as you saw in the last 3 races. Monaco and Azerbaijan with a podium, and a 5th place result here in Canada, which is a sort of street circuit. It's more like a park circuit. I think isn't it based around a park in Montreal, something like that. But anyway, that's probably one reason why we're so strong here. Next race is going to be the French Grand Prix at Paul Ricard, which is, as you may know, a normal circuit. It's not a street one, so who knows, we could be strong there. We've got pretty good straight line speed in this car, but we'll see exactly what happens in that next episode. Our rival had an absolute shocker, in fact, down in 14th place. My teammate remained exactly where he started, in 17th place. And otherwise, no other surprises throughout the table. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to give it a like. Subscribe to the channel if you are new and want to see more content like this. Also, make sure to comment below with any other content you'd like to see from this channel. And also make sure to subscribe to my other two channels. Their links are in the descriptions below. Anyway, I'm going to leave you guys to watch the highlights as per usual, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.